Welcome to the Betting Pros PGA podcast. I'm Pat Fitzmaurice, joined by Bo McBrayer. We're going to give you a full betting preview of the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson. Bo and I will share our favorite bets with you. We'll also make our one and done picks at the end of the show. We'll also do a very quick recap of the Zurich Classic of New Orleans. And let's start with that. Ben Griffin and Andrew Novak team up to win the Zurich Classic of New Orleans. They finished 28 under par, one shot better than Rasmus and Nikolai Højgaard, the twin brothers from Denmark. Ben Griffin rolled in a clutch 35-foot birdie putt from the fringe on the par 3 17th hole to give his team a two-shot lead. The tee shot by Novak had actually flirted with the water on the left side. I thought it might be wet, Bo, but instead they turned it into a birdie, and then they parred the par 5 18th, leaving the Højgaards in need of a final hole eagle to tie, but that wasn't going to happen. No one made eagle on the 18th hole all day. The Højgaards did make birdie on the last hole, though, putting them in second place by themselves, one shot ahead of third place finishers Jake Knapp and Frankie Kappen. Novak and Griffin aced the best ball rounds. The Zurich Classic features a best ball format in rounds 1 and 3, where you use the best score between the two teammates on each hole. In rounds 2 and 4, it's alternate shot. Novak and Griffin shot 62 in Thursday's best ball round, 61 on Saturday. The Højgaards had shot an opening round 59, but Bo, one of the long shot teams you touted on last week's show, Isaiah Salinda and Kevin Velo, they shot a tournament low 58 on Thursday. They finished 4 shots back. Defending champs Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry finished 6 shots back. Any takeaways from the Zurich Classic, Bo?
Yeah, I had a couple of good high placing teams. I placed 2 ways with Salinda and Velo, and I also placed 2 ways with the Stanford boys, Michael Thorbjornsen and
Vilips.
Yeah, Karl Vilips. It was a good week. Didn't get the winners, but I know a lot of people who did bet on Ben Griffin and Andrew Novak, 2 hot players. That was kind of what the theme of last week was, is get some teams that maybe are just playing really well and they got some good vibes going. And that was kind of what happened. I didn't have anything really well invested into the Zurich Classic, but it was nice to pull out a small profit with some pretty timely picks. Shout out NorCal. Velo and Salinda were not just electric, they were entertainment. They shot a 58 and they were still dogging on each other because they probably could have shot a 53 that day. They were 12 under through 11 holes on Thursday and ended up coasting to the finish, including a par on the 18th, which is a par 5. And they could have gone even lower than 58. And unfortunately, their luck on the alternate shot format was not as good. And they ended up shooting a 66 on Saturday in best ball, which wasn't going to help them win the tournament. But I'll take my 2 placement bet wins on 2 guys that I was just hoping they'd make the cut. So it was great.
Yeah, it's a fun event. Not one of the bright shining stars on the PGA Tour calendar, but it's a nice breath of fresh air. Now we'll get to the CJ Cup Byron Nelson in just a moment. But first,
download the free BettingPros app for iOS and Android. With Sportsbook Sync, you can automatically track your bets across all major sportsbooks in one spot. Go ahead and easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and parlays. Create your custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. Get a 7-day free trial of BettingPros Premium by downloading the app at bettingpros.com/apps using the code JUICE, JUICE, and activating your trial on the upgrade screen.
So now it's back to solo competition on the PGA Tour with the CJ Cup. Byron Nelson. The tournament will be played at TPC Craig Ranch in McKinney, Texas, a suburb of Dallas-Fort Worth. This will be the 5th time the Byron Nelson has been played at TPC Craig Ranch. It's a Tom Weiskopf design, a par 71 measuring 7,569 yards. It's a fairly long course, even by PGA Tour standards. 3 of the 4 par 3s measure 216 yards or longer. There's a 635-yard par 5, although the other 2 par 5s on the course are short and pretty gettable. 5 of the par 4s are 490 yards or longer, but players can pull out their drivers and mostly swing away without fear this week. Craig Ranch has wide fairways, manageable rough, few hazards. The bent grass greens are big and easy to hit. So expect a birdie fest this week. Taylor Pendrith is the defending champ. He finished 23 under par last year to beat Ben Coles by one shot. Jason Day was also 23 under when he won in 2023. And KH Lee won here back-to-back in 2021 and 2022, finishing minus 25 and minus 26. It won't be all that hot down in Texas this week, with temperatures ranging from the low 70s to low 80s during the tournament. It'll be a little breezy, of course, with winds in the 10 to 15 mile an hour range. I guess that's not even that breezy by Texas standards. And we have thunderstorms in the forecast for Friday morning and Sunday morning, so we could get a delay or two. Bo, what should bettors need? What do bettors need to know about TPC Craig Ranch?
The fact that it's mostly a putting contest at the end of the day, it kind of caters to longer hitters, but it also doesn't detract from the shorter hitters who also have, if they're coming in with a hot putter, we've seen guys win here with just a hot putter. It just comes down to who makes the most birdies. You mentioned that this golf course is very, very unremarkable. It's a very classic course layout, par 71. Even though it is longer, I just think that whoever makes the most birdie putts is going to win this thing. And it's just kind of if you like scoring and you like very few perils for the bad shot on occasion, there's not going to be much stress on the golfers this week, which is not my forte. I like carnage, as everybody knows. But TPC Craig Ranch, very gettable for all of these guys. And that opens up the field to anybody being able to win here. It's not my cup of tea, but I'm still going to get some skin in the game, of course.
Yeah, it really does open up the field, and we see one of the higher percentages of greens in regulation of any event on tour. I think it's like 72% or something. So scrambling is not going to be a big factor, but yeah, who can hit it far, who can hit it close, and who can sink putts. That's what it comes down to. So we will get to the odds in just a moment, but first,
Bet365 has a special offer for our listeners. Turn $5 into $150 worth of bonus bets when you join Bet365. To claim the offer, just go to bettingpros.com/365 and deposit at least $10. If you place a bet of at least $5, you'll earn $150 in bonus bets. Again, that's bettingpros.com/365. 21 or older only. Must be present in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Tennessee, or Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or if you live in Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. Terms and conditions apply.
Now let's take a look at the odds for the Byron Nelson. All odds are courtesy of DraftKings. As of Monday morning, some of these odds may have changed since we recorded this. Scottie Scheffler, who grew up in the Dallas area, is a heavy favorite at plus 280. Another Dallas native, Jordan Spieth, is 18-1. SungJae Im is 22-1. Taylor Pendrith and Ben An are both 25-1. Siwoo Kim, Sam Burns, and Keith Mitchell are 30-1. Ben Griffin is 35-1. Steven Yeager and Will Zalatoris are 40-1. And Rasmus Højgaard and Mackenzie Hugues are 45-1. Bo, do you have any interest in eating chalk with Scottie Scheffler, even though he hasn't won on tour this season?
No, thanks. I'm not interested. This is the week where we take everybody except for Scottie, maybe even dabble in the non-Scottie markets if you find them, and just pray that he doesn't get his first win this year. This is right in his backyard. And you're just kind of just a little antsy. I don't think he's going to win here because this course really does not set up well for him to take advantage of how much better he is than everybody else in this field. And that doesn't mean he won't win. It just means that I really, really hope he doesn't, because I have a whole flurry of smaller investments on lesser golfers who have just as much of a chance to win here as Scottie Scheffler. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, for you to think that Scottie Scheffler has value at plus 280, you're saying that he has basically a 40% chance or better to win here. And
it seems a little short.
It does seem a little short, and these guys are pretty good. Also, Scottie has played in 3 of the 4 Byron Nelsons at Craig Ranch. He's finished 47th, 15th, and 5th.
Yeah, it's
So he's
not
been,
his digs. This is not where we see Scottie Scheffler flourish. I'd rather have the defending champion, Taylor Pendrith, the Canadian.
yeah. Tell me more about Pendrith and tell me about some of the other guys from this group
Well,
who interest you.
yeah, defending champion. He's the only one in this favorites top tier that I'm even investing in because I just don't see the value in it. This is a long hitter. He's in the top third for driving distance. He's in the top quarter of this field for birdies or better gained, which is my heavily weighted metric in this. And then par five scoring, you're going to have to score a lot of birdies here, and the easiest birdies come on the par fives. And he's 7th in this field in par five scoring. There's only one little weakness in his game, and it's putting, but it's also been better than usual for Taylor Pendrith. This is a guy who's tailor-made for this type of golf course where he can just let loose and hit it close and make a bunch of birdies, and that's not Scottie Scheffler's game. That's Taylor Pendrith's game, and there's a reason why Taylor Pendrith has this trophy on his mantle and Scottie doesn't.
Yeah, it's funny how we're calling this a putting contest.
It is.
And yet there's some players who are not great putters who have done well here, like Ben An, for instance.
Yeah.
Like he's
KH Lee, the Panda, won here twice, and he hasn't made a putt since whenever.
Yeah, An has finished 14th and 4th the last 2 years here. Not a good putter.
No.
Jordan Spieth is a good putter, of course. He missed the cut here a year ago, but he finished 9th at the Byron Nelson in 2021, and he was 2nd to KH Lee in 2022. The generous fairways should help Spieth and his erratic driver, and he's finished top 20 in 3 straight events, so he's coming in pretty good form. Let's see, SungJae Im hasn't played this event, but he's been hot. He was 5th at the Masters, 11th at the RBC Heritage. Siwoo Kim has missed the cut in 2 of his last 3 solo events, but he finished 2nd at the Byron Nelson in 2023 and was 13th last year. So he's shown some aptitude at TPC Craig Ranch. Keith Mitchell has finished top 20 in 4 straight events. And I would say Keith Mitchell's always a pretty good bet for first round leader since he tends to come roaring out of the gate every Thursday. Mm-hmm. And one more name I'll mention, Mackenzie Hugues, quietly just playing really well lately. 10th at the Houston Open last month, 3rd at the RBC Heritage.
Another Canadian that you're fond of.
That's right. The Canadians in Texas, man. We're hitting on a theme here. All right, let's go to some of the mid-range plays. We've got Tom Kim and Jacob Bridgeman at 55-1. Seamus Power, Ryan Gerard, Nikolai Højgaard, Jake Knapp, and Harry Hall are all 60-1. Thorbjorn Olesen, Eric Cole, Kurt Kitayama, Kevin Yu, Isaiah Salinda, and Michael Thorbjornsen are 65-1. Rika Hoey, Taylor Moore, Matt Wallace, and Rio Hisatsune are 70-1, and Sam Stevens and Austin Eckrout, easier names to pronounce, are 75-1. Who stands out from this group?
What stands out is we haven't mastered the Japanese golfers' names yet. This group is loaded. I love this group. I'm going to speckle in some smaller investments on Michael Thorbjornsen, one of the longest hitters on tour, also runner-up at Puerto Rico a couple of weeks ago. This is another type of course where there's no penalty to driving it errantly. And so distance, bomb and gouge, there's not even any gouge. It's just bomb it down there, hit it close, and make the putt. I think Michael Thorbjornsen, along with Isaiah Salinda, who we've seen, the pride of Northern California himself, very nearly took down, even despite Kevin Velo not really playing that great next to him. Salinda was so hot last week in New Orleans that he very nearly carried Team NorCal to the victory. Salinda is playing out of his mind in his rookie season this year. Corn Ferry Tour, he tore it up last year. Salinda and Thorbjornsen getting 65-1 odds in this field is a green light for me. And Gary Woodland, I think, is coming up the next group. I'll throw him in there right now because I expect his odds to get shorter. He's going out at 80-1 right now. But if he's healthy and he's not going to withdraw like he did last week, then we're going to see Gary Woodland's odds kind of go into more of that 70-1 range.
Yeah, Thorbjornsen is interesting, Bo. Really talented guy. I think we both kind of like him. And he got off to a rough start this season, but now he's heating up. Like you said, second at
So much
Corrales
talent.
Quintana.
So much
Yeah,
talent.
yeah. So second 2 weeks ago and fourth in the team event last week, and he hits the ball a mile. And so does Salinda, of course, who played well last week in the team event and has a couple other top 15s this year. Bo, Jake Knapp, uh, big hitter, good putter. He was eighth here last year in his Byron Nelson debut, and he's played well all season. Bo, I might have bet Knapp last week, but he was paired with Frankie Cappan, who had missed 7 cuts in 8 starts this season. Knapp and Cappan, Knapp and Cappan almost won in New Orleans, and I didn't think they had a chance with one half of the team being sort of a weak link. But
Well,
so
that was your ultimate complementing styles. Jake
it
Knapp,
was
Jake Knapp is obviously a long hitter, and Sapin or Capin, I think,
Cappan,
I don't know. He's one of the best putters on the planet, but he's
really good
not the
putter.
best ball striker. But you got Jake Knapp's ball striking and one of the best putters on the planet. They're going to have some opportunities, and they capitalized on them.
Yeah. A couple other names to look out for in this group. Jacob Bridgeman has 3 top tens this year. He also ranks fifth on tour in strokes gained putting. Seamus Power has finished top 20 in 3 of the 4 years that the Byron Nelson has been played at Craig Ranch. And Ryan Gerard, this guy's Mr. Texas, Bo. He finished ninth at the Houston Open and second at the Valero Texas Open. He ranks inside the top 15 in total strokes gained and strokes gained putting. So Gerard is interesting this week.
Popular pick.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the narrative thing. I think he's his numbers really fall off when you get a course that's more than 7,400 yards.
Yeah, this is a long course. It could test his ball striking. All right, what about the long shots, Bo? Who do you like at 80 to 1 or longer?
I have a trio of 80 to 1 or
Okay.
longer. Of course, Karl Vilips. He's the future of golf. I'm calling it right now. I've been calling it all season. Karl Vilips is the future of golf. We already picked him to win at the Mexico Open, where he just tore the place apart. Or was it Puerto Rico Open? He tore the place apart, dominated, even though he's 55 to 1. He's going out at 100 to 1 in a very weak field if you exclude Scottie Scheffler. This is a green flag. Bet the ladder. Bet him all the way up to top 20 if you want. That's a very, very aggressive bet as far as what I have on my card. He's the most aggressive I'm going to get. Hayden Springer, 120 to 1. Amazing value. Another guy with a lot of power, and he's also the third best putter in this field. So 21st in driving distance, 5th in birdies or better, 3rd in putting, 3rd on par fives, 4th in total strokes gained. He's got it all except for maybe his approach game has been a little squirrely on occasion, but Hayden Springer is going to make a lot of birdies, and I don't know if this course can really penalize him for when he is wayward. And finally, I'm going to go back to the well with Kris Ventura, 200 to 1. Another guy who dominates on longer golf courses because he's a very good long iron player. Kris Ventura, another birdie making machine that's going out at 200 to 1. So I'm going to take a little bit and throw it that way, and then a little bit more and throw it on his top 20.
I'll add one more name. Alejandro Tosti, our friend from Argentina. He's 80 to 1, and Tosti's been pretty hot. He's finished top 12 in his last 3 solo events. Hits the ball a mile. He's streaky, but we'll take streaky. If he's cold, we're not going to cash, but if he's hot, he can absolutely contend here.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, but who is on your early betting card?
So I have defending champion Taylor Pendrith at 25 to 1. Michael Thorbjornsen and Isaiah Salinda both at 65 to 1. Gary Woodland at 80. Karl Vilips at 100 to 1 with the full ladder. Hayden Springer 120 and Kris Ventura at 200 to 1.
Very nice. I've got Siwoo Kim at 30 to 1. He's the only guy with short odds I'm interested in. I have Mackenzie Hugues for a top 10 at plus 360. I've got Jake Knapp at 55 to 1 with the top 5 kicker at 9 to 1. I've got Ryan Gerard for a top 5 at 10 to 1. And then I have an 80 to 1 bet on Alejandro Tosti. And I'm going to follow you, Bo. I'm going to ladder bet Karl Vilips 100 to 1, and then
he's the future of golf, Pat.
He is the future of golf. Now for our one and done picks. Bo, you took Michael Thorbjornsen and Karl Vilips last week. Solid showing for them in New Orleans. They tied for 4th. That was worth $450,800. I had Keith Mitchell and JT Poston. They tied for 18th, good for $140,300. You're now at about 5.2 million on the season. You basically doubled me up. I'm at about 2.6 million. But I picked first this week, Bo, and I'm going to go with hometown boy Jordan Spieth in Dallas. Who are you taking?
Well, I already burned Spieth to the tune of $259,000 earlier in the season. That was nice. I'm going to go with the defending champion Taylor Pendrith because I haven't used him. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. We're gonna try to go back to back, or at least get close enough to extend my lead even further.
That's all for this week's Betting Pros PGA podcast. Come join us again next week when we will be back with a betting preview of the Truist Championship. It's a signature event that should have a star-studded field, so that one will be fun to examine and break down. Until then, so long, everyone.